guys, this is Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back playing with the newest released from Wild Whisper Designs, and it's called Palm Paradise. And so it has this really great combination of black and white patterns along with real bright, fun colors. And so if you know me and my style, you know that this collection is right up my alley. So I love this idea of combining black and whites with lots of bold color. And so I have two photos that I am going to be working with today. And so one of them I have left as a 4x6, and one of them I have cut down to just a little smaller than 4x4. And they are both pictures that I took just of like flowers and trees and like scenery in Hawaii. And so I know that I want to use these little cards that came in the cut apart sheet, and I want to use them as an entire strip. And I want these black tags to show from behind. So basically what I did is I layered up all those tags that I wanted to use, and I attached them at the very bottom with a piece of washi tape. And then I used that washi tape to keep everything in place while I just added some extra adhesive. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these borders over the top. So the one that is black with some pink floral detail is the branding strip that came on that paper. Excuse me, guys. I'm still trying to get over this ridiculous pneumonia cough. And I'm adding in just a touch of this kind of pinkish color in between to give myself a little break between the patterns and then the black and white pattern. And so my two photos, I know that I have put them on a white cardstock, real thin border, and then I'm adding a little bit thicker border of black cardstock. And they're going to sit on top of these black and white palm trees. So I've taken those black and white palm trees and I have just torn the bottom edge of that paper and added a little bit more of that pink to kind of give it another break between the pattern and the white background. And it just kind of helps to divide my layout into segments that way. So it looks like it has all been pieced together and it has all of these different kind of definite sections to the layout. And so then I'm going to go ahead and grab this card that had some flowers on it, and I fussy cut off screen all of those little florals because I wanted to use them as the embellishments on my page. And so I'm going to go ahead and get my two photos in here the way I want them to go. And then I'm going to place those florals that I fussy cut on this layout as well. And I am going to put the one up here on the top left. I'm going to tuck in behind my photo, and then I just kind of ruffle up the edges a little bit with my finger to give it some dimension. And then the one down here that's going to go in the bottom right, because I want them to be on that diagonal, has some dimensional adhesive behind it, so that one's going to kind of stand up a little bit more. And then I had this little teeny tiny piece of a leftover cut file, and I'm going to tuck it in on this left-hand bottom corner. When I ripped my paper, that corner had more room than the other side, so it left a little bit of a bigger gap at the bottom, which is perfect because it's going to give me a spot to put my third embellishment cluster. So even though I have a lot of detail going on the top part of the page, I didn't have a lot going on in the bottom part of the page. So in order to balance that out, I'm going to have my three embellishment clusters all centered at the bottom of the page around my photos. So I've still got my visual triangle going that's going to lead your eye through like both of my photos. And so that one on the bottom is going to kind of add to that. So then I'm going to take these puffy phrase stickers, and this is going to kind of serve as my title, and I'm going to add one to each. So there's going to be one down here on the bottom that says explore. And then there's going to be one that says live, and I'm going to nestle that one in with this floral, and I'm going to put it right directly onto my photo. And then I'm going to go back up to the top and add the one that says travel to my floral at the top, and it's actually going to sit right on top of the floral. So this one, the one that says live, because the flower is popped up, the phrase is going flat on the photo. On the top, that flower is tucked in behind the photo, so that gives me a place where my phrase can sit directly on top of that embellishment instead. So I did take, you'll see some pink ink up in that top right hand corner from Catherine Pooler, and I did use that. You'll see in the close-ups to add some inking around the very outside edge of my layout, and I like that kind of pop of pink. It makes it so that my black and white elements are kind of boxed in and they don't get lost. So there's a definite edge or ending spot to this particular layout. Plus it brings in that additional pop of pink that you see kind of throughout the layout. So I really like that idea of adding ink around the edge on a page like this, where you're combining, you know, black and whites with real bright pops of color. And this collection is just perfect for that. So there are tons and tons of really bright, fun colors, but then there's also some really great black and white patterns to kind of balance everything out and give you some really amazing layout possibilities. And so I'm just adding some enamel dots, and so I pulled out a few different collections of those just from my stash, and there's some older ones in there, I'll admit. Some of those are pretty old. And I'm just adding some of those to each cluster. So I think I end up with quite a few. So my bottom embellishment cluster ends up with 6, and then the one that says live ends up with, I believe, 4, and then the one at the top also ends up with 4. So this is one of those spots when I'm working with these tiny embellishments, things like enamel dots or sequins, that I will often break my rule of thirds or my rule of threes, where you want everything in clusters of 3. I will often break that with my little tiny embellishments as a way to just add interest. So if your eye is used to always seeing everything in 3s, and then all of a sudden you see things in 4, 5, 6, it makes your eye like stop for a second, like, oh, this is different. So that's just a tip for you if you want to try and spice things up or change things a little. That's a rule that's really easy to kind of bend to fit what you want it to be. And so that's going to do it for me for today. Do click down below and check out this really, really fun new Palm Paradise collection from Wild Whisper Designs, and I'll see you soon. Bye!